as to why we agree with abolishing grouping middle and primary students with their age, and instead would like to push for grouping them based on their competency and their intelligence. Here are some points that we're trying to bring. Point number one is that if we were to group them based on their intelligence and their competency, we would get a what we would like to call a more individualized education. It can also help them learn a lot better. They can learn better at their best pace. We would also like to say point number two is that it reduces stress of having to compete with people of the same age. It reduces stress, it reduces anxiety, and it also promotes what's important is a healthy learning environment, which is important for all students. Point number three that we're trying to bring is that if we were to group them based on their intelligence and their competency, it can encourage collaboration between them. Different strengths and abilities work well together, and everybody who is at a different age group have different skill sets that can complement each other very well. It can also expose us, the younger ones, to perspectives that they haven't really got exposed to a lot. We would also like to give some critique as to why we don't typically agree with grouping them based on their age. As to why is that it's very simple. Different students have different skills, different maturity, and learning skills. It's very, very important. It's because if we were to group them all in the same group, it would be very, very hard for the teacher to teach them, especially because some students will get what they're saying and some students will not. So if we were to group them instead based on their intelligence and their competency, it would be a lot better because it would be a lot better for the teacher to teach them. It would be a lot easier for the teacher to teach them, and it will be better for them as well because they can learn at their best pace. We will also like to give some conclusion as for this topic, and the conclusion is that while age-based grouping has its own merits, as in like classroom management and such, we would also like to say that it has a lot of disadvantages, and I think it should be complemented, especially with strategies that can also address the individual differences among the students. A more holistic approach would be to, of course, consider both the students' age and their individuals so that it can promote a well-rounded and a perfect education for all students.